everyone, and welcome again to my channel English One-on-One, where I will be providing you with pertinent information as to how you can get your distinction. Get your distinction. Get your distinction. Today we shall be looking at the short story Raymond's Run. The objectives of this presentation are as follows. One, to make students conscious or aware of the type of family structure that exists within this short story. Two is to identify the characters within this short story and to ensure that students are able to find relevant adjectives to describe the main character, Squeaky, and of course, provide evidence to support the adjectives that they have chosen. Three is to make students aware of the narrative techniques used by the writer. And four, to outline the various contrasting characters and their relevance in this short story. Five is to identify the themes that are depicted in this short story. And six, to state the lessons that students may learn after they have read this short story. Within a short story, you may be presented with 7 different types of family structure. You may be presented with a nuclear family, a single parent family, an extended family, a childless family, step families, grand families, and or unconventional families. So it's important to note the family structure within stories because the family structure will play a significant role as to how the main character interact with others and sometimes as to how their mannerism as well. Okay, so it's important. Let us note the type of family structure within the story Raymond's Run. Let us see if we are able to identify the type of family structure presented in the short story Raymond's Run. We will now read the first paragraph of this story. I don't have much work to do around the house like some girls. My mother does that. And I don't have to earn my pocket money by hustling. George runs errands for the big boys and sell Christmas cards. And anything else that's got to get done, my father does. All I have to do in life is mind my brother Raymond, which is enough. Are you able to identify the type of family structure that is presented here? Let's see. You have identified the type of family structure as a nuclear family, then well done. Go ahead and pat yourself on the shoulders. A nuclear family system is a family structure that consists of 2 parents living with their children, also known as an immediate family. Okay, are you able to identify some of the benefits of having a nuclear family structure versus, say, a single parent family structure versus maybe even an extended family structure or an unconventional family structure? Right? So what are some of the things that we would have observed about the main character, Squeaky, based on what was stated in the first paragraph, right, of this short story, right? Are you able to state some of the things that you have observed about her, some of the things that you would have detected based on the narrator? the narrator, who is Squeaky. So we know that the type of narration for this story is a first person narration, where the narrator is a character within the story. Are you able to identify any adjectives that could be used to describe Squeaky so far? Let's see. We could say that Squeaky is responsible, that the narrator, the I there, is responsible. And we get that impression that she's responsible based on the lines, all I have to do in life is to mind my brother Raymond, which enough. Okay, so very responsible, and when you are a responsible sibling, right? There are times when you have tasks to complete, okay? Chores that are given specifically to you because you're responsible. So here now we get she is in charge of Raymond, okay, good? And that might be as a result of the fact that she is a responsible child. Characters within this short story are as follows. One, Asa Elizabeth Deborah Parker, aka Squeaky. Two, Mrs. Parker, Squeaky's mother. Three, Mr. Parker, Squeaky's father. Four, George, Squeaky's brother. Raymond, Squeaky's brother. Cynthia Proctor. 7, Gretchen P. Lewis. 8, Mary Louise. 9, Rosie. And 10, Mr. Pearson. And you will find that some of these characters, you would have discovered that some of these characters are major characters and others are minor characters. Now let's get back to our discussion on the main character, Squeaky, Hazel Elizabeth Deborah Parker. Let's listen to the reading of the second paragraph and see what we have discovered so far, what we can discover so far about Squeaky. Let's go. Sometimes I slip and say my brother Raymond, but as any fool can see, he's much bigger and he's older too. But a lot of people call him my little brother cause he needs looking after, cause he's not quite right. And a lot of smart mouths got lots to say about that too, especially when George was minding him. But now, if anybody has anything to say to Raymond, anything to say about his big head, they have to come by me. And I don't play the dozen or believe in standing around with someone in my face doing a lot of talking. I much rather just knock you down and take my chances, even if I am a little girl with skinny arms and a squeaky voice, which is how I got the name Squeaky. And if things get too rough, I run. And as anybody can tell you, I'm the fastest thing on 2 feet. There is no track meet that I don't win the first place medal. What can we say about Squeaky so far? Are you able to find appropriate adjective to describe her? Let's see. Based on what we have heard so far, we get the impression that Squeaky is protective. She's also feisty. Okay, good. So she's protective of her older brother Raymond because Raymond, we can detect from what is stated here that Raymond might have a disability, and as a result of that is often teased by others. And but she, Squeaky, says that, and a lot of smart mouths got lots to say about that too, especially when George was minding him. And that minding there mean that George was taking care of him when he was in George's care. But no, if anybody has anything to say to Raymond, anything to say about his big head, they'll have to come to me. So we know that she's protective of Raymond and she's feisty. And I don't play the dozen or believe in standing around with anyone in my face. So she's very fierce, okay, and doing a lot of talking. so she doesn't want to talk. Action, not a bag of mouth. I much rather just knock you down. So aggressive, there's the aggression there. So she might be a very aggressive, and much rather just knock you down and take my chances, even if I am a little girl with skinny arms and a squeaky voice, which is how I got the name Squeaky. So she's not even perturbed with the name that she has been called by others, Squeaky, right? So she's very confident. And if things get too rough, I run. Athletic. Okay, good. And as anyone can tell you, I'm the fastest thing on 2 feet. So confidence is of course shown there. There is no track meet that I don't win the first place medal. She will see. Right? All right. Are there other things that you can say about her? Okay, so your activity is to find adjectives that can be utilized to describe Squeaky, and of course, relevant evidence to support the adjectives that you have chosen. Other adjectives that can be used or utilized to describe the main character, Squeaky. Now, we want you to complete this activity in the format of a table. So, under character, you would have the list of characters, the name. So, here we have Squeaky. Then we have all the adjectives that can be used to describe her, right? Appropriate adjective. So, we have talented or gifted. And we say that she's gifted or talented in the field of athletics. Okay, so in track and field, she is a great runner. And as a result of that, we notice that the big kids call her Mercury because I'm the swiftest thing in the neighborhood. Okay, so she's very fast on her feet, right, on her leg. And as a result of that, she's like lightning bolt. Okay, good. And so she's able to outrun anyone in the neighborhood except for her father. So we realize that this ability to run might be innate, right? But though it might be innate, we realize also that Squeaky realized that this talented, if it is not, should I say, practice, if she doesn't practice, if she doesn't have the discipline to practice, okay, she may lose the gift. Isn't that so? And as a result of that, we see her being very disciplined. Okay, she does her warm up, she does her running, her practice, and her training, and we saw that in the story. She's assertive as well, and she's unconventional, and she is selfless. Are you able now to find evidence to support these other adjectives? If you are, let me know in the comments section below. What are narrative techniques, you may ask? Well, narrative techniques are the strategies that the writer uses to enhance the story in order to make it more complicated and entertaining. Are you able to think of any narrative techniques that writers use within stories? Narrative techniques used in Raymond's run are as follows. 1. Contrasting characters. 2. Literary devices or figures of speech. You will find that this story is flooded with figurative devices or figures of speech, or as they are referred to sometimes as devices. Then, of course, there is suspense, and there is the use of dialogue. Dialogue here is used as a technique, right? And then you have the narrative perspective or point of view, which is also a technique, right? And you have a twist in this story. Are you able to identify those techniques? If you were, go ahead and pat yourself on the shoulders. Characters. It is important that students are conscious of the fact that Hazel, Elizabeth Deborah Parker, aka Squeaky, is very different from the other females in this short story. Of contrasting characters. The contrasting characters are very relevant to a story or storyline. Contrasting characters creates interest, okay, or intrigue. As a result of these contrasting characters, readers are eager or are interested to find out how one character will view a situation versus another. Okay, good. Right? Remember that characters may differ in terms of their personalities, in terms of their values and their attitudes, their mannerism and speech. Okay, good. Not only does contrasting characters provide interest or creates interest, but it intensifies the plot or the storyline. Okay, good. Intensify the plot or the storyline, and it helps to create suspense, right? So remember, we said that suspense is the withholding of information, and so now we are correct. Readers will be intrigued, interested to find out what will one character say, how will one character view a situation versus the other, okay? And this suspense, this withholding of information creates intrigue in the story or interest in the story. So we see that these points are overlapping. Of course, it provides an opportunity for readers to get involved in the story as well, because readers now, based on how we view the characters, we're able to depict or predict sometimes how a character may respond to a given situation. All right, just that information was helpful. Hazel Parker or Squeaky is very different from her mother. Mrs. Parker is very traditional, while Squeaky is an unconventional female, right? Are you able to identify evidence from the novel that would support or suggest that Mrs. Parker is traditional, while Squeaky is unconventional? If you are, share it in the comment section below. Identify the following evidence as reason that suggests that the mother, Squeaky's mother, is traditional, while Squeaky is unconventional. Then go ahead and pat yourself on the shoulders. Here are some reasons given. One, I prance down 34th Street like a rodeo pony to keep my knees strong, even if it does get my mother uptight so that she walks ahead like she's not with me, don't know me, is all by herself on a shopping trip, and I am somebody else's crazy child. So she doesn't want to associate with her when she's actually doing her routine, right? To ensure that her knees are strong so that she can run very fast. And then the second evidence there in the story so far is that the biggest thing on the program is the maypole dancing, which I can do without. Thank you. Even if my mother thinks it's a shame that I don't take part and act like a girl for a change. So you know the whole idea of acting like a girl. So girls are supposed to be involved in dancing, singing, and all of those things. Um, you'll think my mother would be grateful not to have to make me a white organdy dress with a big stain slash and buy me new white baby doll shoes that can't be taken out of the box till the big day. You would think she'll be glad her daughter ain't out there prancing around on a maypole, getting the new clothes all dirty and sweaty and acting like a fairy or a flower or whatever you're supposed to be when you should be trying to be yourself, right? So she's not into the old notion that girls should be dancing and prancing around. And so we realize that Squeaky is somewhat unconventional, whatever that is, which is, as far as I am concerned, a poor black girl who really can't afford to buy shoes and a new dress you only wear once a lifetime, because it won't fit next year. So she's practical, she's very practical. And the very first line of that story, I don't have much work to do around the house like some girls. My mother does that. So we realize that the domesticated responsibilities are, of course, done by the mother. And so we realize that she is very traditional. The mother is traditional, but Squeaky seemed to be very unconventional, right? Were you able to identify those evidence? If you were, go ahead again and pat yourself on the shoulders. Not only is Squeaky very different from her mother, but Squeaky, is Elizabeth Deborah Parker, is also very different from the other girls in her school. Unlike Cynthia, Squeaky is not deceptive. She does not have a pretentious air. Unlike Gretchen, Squeaky does not rely on others to defend her, nor does she see the need to have a gang of female friends. And you notice that this difference in contrasting characters, of course, allow the story to become somewhat intriguing to the readers, right? So we are curious to find out whether it's going to be Gretchen who wins the race, right? Or Squeaky, right? And although Squeaky is confident that she is a winner, right? Good. And she has to win because she is the quickest or fastest thing on 2 feet, we realize, therefore, but that the writer's use of contrasting characters have now intensified the plot, the storyline, intensified the conflict there. And we don't know how the conflict is going to be resolved between Squeaky and Gretchen, and also allow us now to be somewhat intrigued, engaged, curious to find out how this is going to be resolved. Also, there's the conversation that Squeaky has with Gretchen and the other girls, Rosie and Mara Louise, okay, right? Allow us as well to see the humor, right? So it was quite entertaining. Were you entertained? And let me see if we can find some extract that were quite funny or hilarious. Of a passage or paragraph that was somewhat humorous is the one below. So I'm strolling down Broadway, breathing out and breathing in on counts of 7, which is my lucky number. And here comes Gretchen and her sidekicks. Mary Louise, who used to be a friend of mine when she first moved to Harlem from Baltimore and got beat up by everybody till I up took up for her on account of her mother and my mother used to sing in the same choir when they were young girls. But people ain't grateful. So now she hangs out with the new girl Gretchen and talks about me like a dog. And Rosie, who is as fat as I am skinny and has a big mouth where Raymond is concerned and is too stupid to know that there is not a big difference, great deal of difference between herself and Raymond, and that she can't afford to throw stones. So They are steady coming up Broadway, and I see right away that it's going to be one of those Dodge City scenes because the street ain't that big and they are close to the buildings just as we are. First, I think I will step into the candy store and look over the new comics and let them pass. But that's chicken, and I've got a reputation to consider. So then I think I will just walk straight on through them or even over them if necessary. But as they get to me, they slow down. I'm ready to fight because like I said, I don't feature a whole lot of chit chat. I much prefer to just knock you down right from the jump and save everybody's a lot of precious time. Okay, so you're able to see Squeaky being fierce, being very protective of her brother, but also being very feisty and humorous. Isn't that so? Now she says that Rosie, who is as fat as I am skinny and has a big mouth where Raymond is concerned and is too stupid to know that there's not a big deal of difference between herself and Raymond and that she can't afford to throw stones. And you notice all of this builds up the tension and also it also prepares us now for the differences in terms of their speech and their mannerism between the young lady Gretchen and the young ladies Gretchen and Squeaky and also Rosie. And so we're interested, we're intrigued to read on. All right. She is also very different from her brother Raymond. Raymond, older brother with a disability. Squeaky, younger sister who is very protective of Raymond. The similarity is between them here is that they seem to be very protective of each other. All right. Now, Raymond gets teased about his disability, and Squeaky defends Raymond when he is faced by these bullies. Both are gifted runners. Squeaky is also very selfless. When, when she discovers that Raymond is able to run, or Raymond has these innate running abilities or talents, she decides to coach him so that he can own his running skills. And I think this was very selfless of her. And then she decided also to venture into new areas, new territories, new borders, right? And she believed that if she is disciplined, she will be able to excel in these areas. But because Raymond has so many limitations, she decides now that she is going to coach him so that he can excel in this area. Were you able to pick up all of that from the reading of the story? Raymond has macrocephaly. Is a word that means your baby has a larger than normal head circumference. Macrocephaly is often present at birth. The cause can be harmless if you have other family members with larger heads and there aren't any other signs or symptoms present, but macrocephaly can also be a sign of a serious condition. Now, the themes that are explored in Raymond's Run are as follows: love and family relationship, selfishness, selfishness versus selflessness, dreams and aspirations, stereotypical or traditional perceptions of women, and we talk about women in society, physical and social handicaps, and of course, childhood experiences, and any other theme that your teacher may have alluded to or stated. so many lessons that students can learn from this short story, Raymond's Run. Some of these lessons are as follows. One, persons are able to identify their purpose and identity early when they are members of a supportive and loving family. And we saw that with Squeaky. Squeaky is from a supportive family, a very loving nuclear family, and as a result of that, you notice that she doesn't have suffer from low self-esteem. She doesn't have any hiccups with her identity. Okay, she knows who she is and what she's all about. Secondly, sometimes within families, an older or younger sibling has to sacrifice his or her dreams or aspirations for the greater good of the family. And we saw that with Squeaky and Raymond. In the latter part of the story, we saw where Squeaky discovers that Raymond can run. And as a result of this, she decides that she's going to sacrifice her dreams or athletic pursuits and coach Raymond, who might only have this opportunity or this space to shine in. Okay, good. And then thirdly, there are different types of women within society. And so it is important that students are cognizant of this fact and that they are able now to accept individuals for who they are so that they can coexist peacefully. Okay, good, peacefully. Number four, if persons are diligent, then they can excel in other areas that differ from their innate gift or talent. So Squeaky knows that she's a great runner, right? But she can also excel in other areas like the spelling and all if she decides to be disciplined enough and settle down. And she can also learn to play the piano if she decides to do so, right? Then, but Raymond, however, didn't have any area where he could excel in, and so she felt that is there were some limitation, and that's why she was willing to make the sacrifice her goals. She was able to sacrifice her goals in order to coach him. Would you have done that? State whether or not you would have sacrificed your goals or dreams and aspirations in order to accommodate your siblings' goals or dreams in the comment section below. Then we're at number 5. Adults can also be deceptive, or they can do or say things that are inappropriate. And notice we saw where the man who was responsible, Mr. Pearson, who was responsible for pinning on the numbers on the athletes, he was indicating to Squeaky that she forfeits the race, and she says no. And then when he called her Squeaky, she felt that he had no right to call her Squeaky when she could not call him Beanstalk. Right, good. So adults can be deceptive and they can say and do things that are inappropriate. And then, of course, finally, adults can learn from children as well. There are some adults who believe that there is nothing that they can learn from a child, but we know that children also have experiences, they are also knowledgeable, and you can learn from them as well. And so we saw where Squeaky Mother could have learned the whole idea how to be frugal, right? If she just realized that Squeaky found that the maypole dance was a waste of time, maybe, and money, and also adults can also learn to be honest. Okay, good. All right, so those are some of the lessons. I trust that this presentation have been somewhat beneficial to you. If it has, remember to like, share, tell a friend, and most definitely subscribe. In addition to that, ring the notification bell. Click the notification bell. Here is a ring the bell. hit hit the notification bell for further informative um, presentation. God bless you. I trust that you have enjoyed this presentation and it was beneficial to you.